Hey guys, welcome back. This is Everybody Has a Story, and I got a special guest for you guys today. I got to tell you one thing. She's one of my favorite people on God's green earth. This is Miss Ashley Chapman. This girl is a rock star. She went from country life, farm life to absolute mogul in the real estate industry, and she's only 30 years old. It's incredible to hear her life story and kind of what we're going to be going over today. But before we get to her, Ash, would you mind just coming in and just telling everybody who you are, where you're from? Just give us a little bit of context of who you are, because you're awesome.
Dude, you're awesome. Yeah, my name is Ashley. I grew up in the woods in Washington State. Um, I'm 30. Yes, I'm 30. Started in real estate 9 years ago. I've done a little bit of everything in the business and a little bit of nothing at the same time. Um, Big day trader now instead of
Yeah.
real estate, which is way more fun for me. But yeah, now I'm in Incline Village, Nevada, in the mountains and living my best life.
She really is, ladies and gentlemen. She's actually a dear friend of mine. This girl is living life to the fullest. But here's a question that's been driving me banana cakes, Ash. You know, but for anybody who knew who your name was and who you were or are, who are you really? I mean, break it down for me so I really understand your core beginnings.
Yeah, Ashley Chapman as a person, I think before real estate that changed everything is just like I like to laugh. My childlike self has never gone away. I'm still just a big jokester and I like to have fun and I view life as an opportunity just to have a good time instead of taking it so seriously. So before people knew me in real estate, I think, well, people in real estate know me as that now, but before real estate, I definitely was just nose to the grindstone, but fun nose to the grindstone type person.
When you say nose to the grindstone, when people hear that, people get they get put off a little bit, going like, "Oh my god, like that sounds like too much work." So when you first got going and you're trying to make a name for yourself, not that you didn't, but yeah, everybody tries in the beginning, right?
Yeah,
What did you do? What made you stand out? And was it the hard work? Was it your mindset? Was it your parents? Was it friends? Was it colleagues? What made you kind of push that hard to get to that next level?
I definitely think just being my authentic self. I think that everyone that knows me in this business knows that I'm genuinely just who I am, take it or leave it. And a lot of people get lost in this business trying to be something that they're not. And I never was that. I was always just who I am, as I come as I am, and I stick with that. And it honestly puts a lot of people off in the business. There's a lot of people out there, influencers, the internet, that are like, oh, you have to dress the part, dress to impress, do all these things. And I'm just not that person. And I made a very clear alliance with myself that I never was going to be something other than who I am. And I think because of that, it definitely helped my business a lot more because it's really genuine. And a lot of people just, I think that they take a long time to find themselves in this business. There's a lot of ego death and then rising up. At the end of the day, for me, it was just like, this is who I am. I'm either living life to the fullest or like, oh shoot, I'm broke, or oh snap, like everything just went sideways. What are we gonna do next? But before or during all of those things, like it's just like, you just gotta keep being authentic and everything kind of just falls into place. And I find that when I'm not myself is when things really go sideways.
That's true. You know, the one thing I'm always interested in, Ashley, is the fact that, like, the origin of truth, right? You know, where did you come from? Was it hard, to kind of, step up the ladder of success? And what did it really teach you? And what were the costs? I mean, I have so many questions for you on this first question because, I mean, there's so much incredible information you can share with folks. So, where would you like to start? I mean, was it hard, or what did it teach you, or what did it cost you?
Yeah, everything in life is hard. Like your outcomes are determined by your mindset a lot of the
Mhm.
time. So no matter what, in real estate specifically, no matter what the market is doing, if you have a good mindset, you can get through it. And I think people get caught up in losing that positive mindset. And as much as it sounds corny, it does matter. Um, I when I was younger, it wasn't like I was the coolest kid on the block by any means. I wasn't like getting straight A's. I wasn't any of those things. And I come from a background of a family that values hard work and integrity. And at the end of the day, that was ingrained in me growing up. And so as an adult, like getting into the business so young, a lot of people lose their values, and that's just something I chose not to lose. And I
Hmm.
lost a lot of people along the way. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that they either love me or hate me, and it just is what it is. It's like, well, you can't handle the truth, don't come to the table, because my truth is really real. And if you don't want to hear it, then you can't work with me, because I'm going to either call you out, A, or B, I'm going to take accountability as well. But if you can't, we can't work together. So I think that has a lot to do with things that I decided early on. Like I just never conformed to anything. If somebody tells me to do something, I'm doing the opposite. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. I'm going to actually do the opposite. So, um, when my teachers and like high school counselor Bobby is just like, oh, you need to do X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, for what? Because you said I have to, because society said I had to. Like, very at a young age, my parents were like, she's not going to do it. So we're just going to work with this personality instead of her getting in trouble. But at the end of the day, it was like, well, I'm going to do this for you. Like, whatever, it is what it is. So in my career, it's funny because I hold that same standard for myself from my childhood, where it's like, you could, unless I'd rather you just come and talk to me, but a lot of people have a hard time with it. So it's cost me business relationships. And the one thing that I've found is I'm absolutely the hardest worker in the room. I don't know anybody out there that has worked. I do know people that have worked as hard as me, but the one thing that people don't realize is the amount of time that I put into what it looks like now, as me just being lazy sometimes or taking time off or whatever. Like, I worked for that. And
Hmm.
I don't need anybody to rally that. I know that if I went broke tomorrow, I'm gonna work way harder than anybody else and close deals. That is a fact. And I know that it's evident in real estate that people think that this comes easy, and it takes repetition and practice. So, I've always been told the same thing. You can't do that. Why would you do that? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I'm just going to throw it right back at you. Not only do I don't need to prove anything to anyone, but at the end of the day, like, I know what I'm made of, because I've been told that since I was a kid. Like, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. Blah, 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 blah. You're a bad influence. No, I just know how to live this life. And to me, it's not difficult. So yeah, I've lost a lot, to be fair, but there's nothing in lose like anything that I've lost was actually worth it to me. Like, I don't look back and I'm like, oh, I regret saying that or doing that. I don't. I actually don't, because anybody who wants to judge it from the exterior didn't walk in those shoes and have to make those decisions that I made at a young age, dealing with millions of dollars. So for me, it's like I didn't lose anything. I think more people lost out because they know what I'm capable of, and that's unfortunate. But at the end of the day, nose to the grindstone, I know what I can do, and that's all that matters.
So you talk about a lot about like kind of getting started and stuff like that, and not really giving a flying you know what. Here's a question that's just burning in my brain right now for you. I think a lot of people are listening to this guy asking the same question, and their brains going, what pain did your career secretly solve for you? I mean, what drove you? What pushed you that hard that you can look back and give zero f's about what people thought for you? But what solved what issue did it solve for you when you became successful?
I think really early on, when I started seeing like big returns on my time, it really solved like an ego problem, where it's like,
Describe
I
ego problem.
know, I think when I say that, I mean wholeheartedly, like, when you get into this business at a young age, you get into it for the same reason, and everyone across the board, I don't know anyone that would say anything different. You get into it to make money, like
Mhm.
real money. Like, money to where you could do whatever you want type of money. And so it really solved my adventurous personality and just life that I wanted to live, but it also created more problems with that because, right, more money, more problems, but it really solved the need for me to do the things that I actually like doing, and it's not actually real estate. I genuinely don't like real estate. I think it's a sham. I think the people in the business are crazy. There's a lot of just it's changed a lot. It's not what it used to be, and so for me, it just solved the want to go do other things. And
Okay.
I don't necessarily regret that, but it definitely I mean, I can
So it's
do
a
whatever
means
I
to an
want to
end,
do.
essentially. It's a
Yeah,
means
it's a
to an end.
means to an end. Yep.
Yeah. So the question that's burning in my heart right now, I'm taking notes as fast as I can. You know, did you want success or did you want safety?
Yeah, safety.
Safety,
Freedom.
freedom.
Freedom, safety, like I can still do whatever I want type of mentality. And I don't have to grind all the time.
Did you ever ask yourself the question, what do I have to prove and who am I trying to prove it to? Or is that kind of an internal battle you battle with, or is not something you've ever thought about?
I think it's more of an internal thing for me where it's like I you're constantly competing with myself of like leveling up versus chilling out. And I think entrepreneurship in general, everyone wants to consistently level up. It's a
Hmm.
burning desire, but nothing is ever good enough. And finding a balance between those things is takes time. Takes time. I think we're at the time where I'm like, do I really want to go sign that contract? Nah, not really.
Mm. So so what I'm hearing here is that you've had some, you went from country girl, and I'm paraphrasing on that, to, girl boss personified. There has to be ups and downs. I want you to tell me about your biggest up, and then I want to have another question for you, because I think it's going to be very, very relevant for the young ladies listening and the young gentlemen listening.
Yeah, my biggest win throughout my career has been doing things that nobody else would do. Um, I've
What would that look like? What do you mean? Someone, things that nobody else would do. What did you do?
just the types of deals that I've done, the risks that I've taken, monstrous, like life changing, like this could either it's do or die. Losing hundreds of thousands of dollars and then making it all back again. A lot of the things like that I won was because I took really insane risk that nobody else would take.
Mm,
I think partly because I was young and also just I don't have a family to worry about. But yeah, I think they're in conjunction with each other. The biggest wins that I've had that turned into the biggest losses that also catapulted my career even further that people thought would tank me,
mhm.
um, and never did. And just getting up and being like, yeah, well, that sucked. Let's do it again.
Dust yourself off and keep moving, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So, speaking about that, I want to move on to something else I'm really interested in this. Can you name the exact moment that everything collapsed around you? I mean, what was that straw that broke the camel's back? Because everyone kind of just trudges along in life, and they're like, "Oh, I can do this. I can do this. I can keep going on with that. I can do the mundane BS, so on and so forth." But every single human being on God's green earth has a moment when they're like, "You know what? I've had a stinking enough. Like, I'm done with the BS." What is there, was there, could there be a moment like that you could reflect back on that maybe the viewers could latch onto and say, you know what, this girl's pretty awesome and I relate to her. Maybe I'm going through the same thing. What was that turning point for you?
Yeah, I think the end of 2022 was the biggest turning point. Um, After taking big risks and having to shove it in everyone's face was like that was tough. uh
Hmm.
that sucked. A lot of
Yeah.
people have hearing people's opinions about it, about stuff they don't know about, and getting sued, suing people, and just being like you're all freaking stupid, knowing that you didn't do anything wrong, but at the end of
Hmm.
the day you had to make certain decisions. to keep things afloat, and that's just what you do. And yeah, after the rates went up, I got knocked off my high horse pretty bad. And we're talking really bad. And
Mhm.
when you open your bank account and there's negative $800,000 in it, and the
Been
bank's
there.
clearing checks, yeah, the bank's clearing checks, and you have people that are being like, you just complete, just stupid about things, business partners calling contractors off your jobs because they're greedy, going to their jobs, stuff like that. And then having to fight everything alone and be crap, like completely shit on, to be fair, for a long time. And then going out and just being like, you know what? Just because I made a couple mistakes doesn't mean that I'm wrong or I hurt anyone.
Mhm.
Um, Business is business. And so, yeah, just turning around and then shoving it in their face and just being like, you know what, I'm just going to keep doing me. So yeah, got knocked off my high horse and then just continued on like, I'm just going to double down. I'm going to do more deals. I'm going to do more profitable deals. I might still take some L's here and there, but volume in deals saves you from the one deal that you might take an L on, which everyone has and that nobody could tell me that they haven't.
Oh God, yeah.
So yeah, getting back up again took me a while, but after that, I was just like, everything's done. We're moving on, and I'm gonna go crush skulls again. And I did. And
Nice.
yeah, a lot of people like trying to take advantage of your skill set. That happened to me a lot as well. I'm a pretty good closer, and I've closed
No, no, no,
hundreds of
no, no, no,
deals.
no, no, no,
Yeah,
no, 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 no. You're not pretty good. You're exceptional at closing deals. I've watched you on the
yeah,
phone. I've been on the phones, listening and watching and hanging out with you while we do live cold calls. She's not okay, guys and gals. She's one of the masters of masters that I get to hang out with, and I call her a dear good friend of mine. And
thanks,
with that
Greg.
kind of success, Ash, that you're experiencing, have experienced, all of us in every part of life, we have like that public persona. Everyone sees us living and breathing and expanding and growing and making money and buying houses, buying all the fun toys, all that crazy stuff, right? But we're privately rotting inside. How did
Oh
you
yeah.
deal with that private rot when you sit in bed by yourself? And I've done it. This is why I'm saying it. You have the tears coming down your face. You feel like a sack of you know what. You don't, everyone's kind of hitting on you for not in a good way, but in a bad way for this, that, and another thing you did wrong. How did you deal with that going through everything? Because I'm fascinated to hear this from the for female mindset. Because I know my mindset, but I want to hear your mindset.
Yeah, I do believe that it takes a special like sixth sense to be able to do this and survive some of the things that I dealt with from in 2022. You really have to have resilience, and I thought I was resilient. Then I hit a point of like, okay, I can't get out of bed for 3 weeks. My cat's scratching me. I haven't fed her in 4 days because I slept for 4 days. That level of like depression
Mhm.
really, what the good thing is I think because of the mental toughness and the household I grew up in, I recognized it rather quickly and was like, I got to do something about this, whereas a lot of people it would just eat them alive. I'm not
Mhm.
saying that I'm not trying to separate myself from most people, but to live that through that and be like, there's no, I could see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I also couldn't at the same time.
Mhm.
But I knew that it required me to do something. And so the second that you stop activity is when everything really goes to crap. So I made a choice internally to step up for myself and also my cat. Um,
Well, who doesn't
and
like your
that
cat?
Yeah, I know. My cat's so cool. And I think that choice, though, a lot, it's hard to make, but I think there was a lot of days that I just went through the motions, but I was still doing activity that wasn't as productive, but it was still activity equals results. So, once I made that choice, everything kind of fell into place and eventually just was like, boom, now I'm winning cases. I'm here. Like I'm not going to fold. And a lot of people are afraid to talk about those pitfalls that they have in their business, and I wasn't afraid of it. I was just like, hey, this is exactly what's going on. Here are the facts. I don't care about your emotions or your opinion. And I also at some point had to stop caring about mine and just make decisions that were going to push me in the right direction, which took me a couple months. But at the end of it, it was like, man, I'm just back to closing deals and making money. Um, so, I think next time, if it were to ever happen again, where everything goes haywire,
Mhm.
I would look at it so differently now. I also look at money differently. Money is so stupid. It's not even funny. It's so easy to make and a lot faster. It's a lot easier to lose than it is to make, but it's also really incredibly easy to make money. It's so stupidly easy. I'm just like, people value it so much, and I value living my life. And when I wanted to make all of this money and then I made it and then lost it, it's like, well, what's actually important? I'm important, number one. I'm the most important thing. My
Mhm.
cat is more important than that. My family is more important than that. And who I am at my core is more important than any dollar or any party could ever be, right? So,
Yeah.
um, I just once you lose all of your money, you're like, oh, well, cool. Well, I'm going to go for a walk today. And you start valuing other things. So now I just look at money like it's just a vehicle to things that you want, but it isn't it's not in the it's not in my it's not on my radar, which has in essence, if you're in alignment with your finances, it just means that you are, no matter what you do, if you don't place your entire value on it, it comes and it goes. And when it comes, it's in much bigger paychecks than it was before when I was trying to chase it.
When you chase something, it always runs away. The old cliche adage, if you try to chase something, and if it doesn't, and it runs away from you, it's not supposed to be with you. If it comes back to you,
No.
it's meant to be with you. A
Yep.
lot of times, like you and I have both gone through different depressions in life, because, real estate's a grind. Sales is a grind. Life is a grind. It doesn't matter really which one it is. It's just all of a grind. But a lot of the things, three warning signs I want everyone to kind of really take advantage of it, to just like, tune your antennas up to, is that if you're going to be doing something hard and it's going to take a lot of work, and if you start to burn out, you're going to start feeling the three signs: sleep, anger, isolation. Now, I've had some different life changes in my life recently, and I've done all of those. And isolation, sleep, and letting the anger out is very, very, very natural, and it's not to be hated on. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I mean, Ash, you've done the same thing. But I mean, what I really want to talk about is this question: is again, I'm writing notes like a madman over here. What did you learn when it was too late? I mean, how could you have set boundaries and walls and self-respect before it got too late in business relationships that could have benefited your business? Where do you think you stand on that?
I'm pretty split on that one,
Do tell.
because number one, I don't regret anything. People know who they are, and at the end of the day, I'm not trying to control that. Um, I don't regret anything. I know I did the right thing for me, and
Mhm.
that's it. And
Wait,
if
wait, 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 wait. Back that up one second. You just said a very important thing. You glossed over it so freaking quickly. I want to go back to it. You said you
Okay,
did the right thing for you. Now,
yeah.
do you understand how powerful that is? Because you took control of your mindset, your environment, your lifestyle, your future. You didn't let anybody dictate it to you. You took control of it. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. I
Help
did the Go ahead.
help me understand what was that mind shift for you when you're like, you know what? To hell with everybody else. This is my path. These are my people. I don't care about any of the other people that's barking at me saying weird stuff. How did you make that shift? Because people are dying to know that answer.
Yeah, I made that shift because it's as simple as people were being selfish. around me that I was
Mm.
working with and doing crazy things behind my back. And when you call people out, they do even weirder stuff. And for me, people are like, "Oh, I can't believe some of the things that come out of your mouth." And I'm like, "Why? Because you don't like the truth?" If I have something to say, I'm gonna say it. And it doesn't matter where it comes from. It could be anger, it could be whatever, but people that slide stuff under the rug naturally just bother me. And so, whether we're in a room full of people and colleagues or whatever, or on a text message thread, or I'm getting sent screenshots about people calling people off my jobs because they think that they're more important.
Mhm.
Um, Now, they were paid to be on the job. Don't call them off my job because you think that that's fair. It's not fair, actually. So, and why would you do it? Why didn't you talk to me about it first? So, there's a lot of things that I just will put out into the open. So, um, to be completely fair, it's like I just started giving a crap about myself and being like, I'm just going to
Good.
call this out and move forward. And that shuts people down. People get shut down by that. And there are a lot of people out there that have told me that I need to do things differently or speak differently about certain things. And I'm like, no, if you're going to go and do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to call it out. So, it changed everything for me. So I did what was best for me and what was right. And at that point, when people's true colors show, it's like I know that I'm 10 times harder of a worker than anyone else. So not only do I not care about your support, I don't need it. And I'm very good at self-validating myself. Like I know when I'm by myself working in silence, it's actually legit. And there's a lot of people out there that can say that they work hard, but they don't. So, and those people are greedy and they will go to the ends of the earth to tear other people down, whereas we should just build each other up. So, um, I just, I started caring more about what was the right thing to do for me and also the right business decision. And if people had a problem with that, I let them go.
So basically, what I'm hearing is a very positive thing. You put up boundaries and walls, not that you're being defensive against humanity or society or your colleagues or coworkers. You're just defending your own mental mindset, and this is
Hmm.
your you still you that was your stake in the land right here, right in the middle. I own this. This is mine. You know what? If you have something negative to say, adios muchacho. I will see you never. Have a blessed and horrible life, and I'm going to move forward and be the awesome human being that I am deserved to be because I am who I am. And once you own your own truth, you never step back because now you feel empowered to move forward. And I've watched you, Ash, move forward and do this. You and I have known each other
Yeah.
for what, 7 to 10 years at this point,
Yep.
something ridiculously long. But
Yeah,
it
we've known each other forever.
forever in a dizzle day. And that's the cool thing. I get to watch and see kind of what all the amazing stuff that you're doing. Um, and I think a lot of people, and I'm speaking from my own personal thought pattern here, when you want to become a badass girl boss, guy boss, whatever, entrepreneur, own your own business, you got to stop taking advice from people who've never done what you're doing. It's like going to a bald barber and going like, I want the best haircut, right? Or going to an overweight health therapist or health, guru. You're like, man, you're not even listening to your own words. Like, I got to listen to somebody that actually knows what I'm doing. And you've taken that advice, which is really, really cool. I
Hmm.
mean, what would be one word if you were to say to seek out someone? Then I have another question for you. If you were to seek out somebody as a mentor in any industry, what would be the qualities you would look for in that individual?
Um, I think the biggest quality is like authenticity, grit, sharing the losses. Too many people are afraid. We just had this conversation the other day. So many people are afraid to share their L's. And I'm like, the L's are so insanely valuable. Like, why would
Mhm.
you not talk about when you lost everything? Everyone's lost everything. Just be open about it. But every investor or real estate agent I know, it's a facade and it's all just real estate all the time and look at this and look at that and it's like that none of that matters if nobody knows who you are actually at your core. So grit and frickin' like what have you learned from? Can you share what like your biggest L's and what you learned from them and how you combated it? Or if you can't and you just share the wins, it's just that's not exciting. I don't think for the young people coming up in this business, I don't think it helps them at all. I think it actually hurts because people need to be aware of the pitfalls that you can fall into. Um, and outside of that, grit's huge. How often, like how far are you willing to go? What are you willing to risk to make it? And if
Hmm.
a lot of my coaching students, like I'm harping on some of them right now. I'm like, dude, if you're not freaking working day in and day out, you don't live, eat, breathe, eat, and drink this stuff, you're going to have a tough time. If you have a set schedule, it's going to burn you. You have to be psychotic in your pursuit of of discipline.
Yeah.
Like every last thing that you do, and if you're going through the motions, it's not going to work. So if I see any of that, I'm quick to be like, all right, let's figure out what you're and a lot of times it comes from a place of these people wanting money or seeing other people in the business. When people hire me as a coach, they automatically think that somehow in some way they're going to be and live the life that I live. And that is so not accurate because if they aren't willing to do the things that I was willing to do and I was psychotic, like, and I know nobody can take that from me. I did things nobody else would do. I would, and that's what most people will not do. So if I see that, it takes some time because a lot of people, like I said, they get into this business just to make big money. And it's like big money only comes from hard work. There is no shortcut to getting big deals and doing big deals and raising big money and none of it. That you can't get that without being a problem solver and being psychotic with solving problems and obsessed with this business. So, um, even like not knowing what you're doing is the best place that you could be. So at the end of the day, if I see people without grit and sharing things that are true in this business that they've been around for a while, I don't find them to be as valuable to the young generation coming into this business because those things do matter.
They really do. The fun thing is I have two more questions for you, and I'm very excited about these two because I think it's going to coincide directly with what you were just saying. And what I've been thinking about in my brain is that we talked about success, failure, and everything else. Like, yeah, that's all nice and fluffy, rainbows and sherbet and unicorns and everything else. But here's the real
Yeah.
question: how'd you finally pull yourself out of that downward spiral? What was that thing? What was that personal truth that kind of made you go, aha, this is where I need to go. This is what I should focus on. This is where I need to be. This is what feels true to me. So how'd you pull yourself out of that, you know, downward spiral when people are just coming at you and lawsuits and all kinds of craziness? What'd you do?
At the end of the day, learned more about myself and actually who I am than what people see on the outside. My biggest truth is just the fact that I know that I am 10 times better than anyone or anything at getting deals. I am a complete and utter savage. And a lot of people just aren't. And so what it came down to was like, no, this is exactly who I am. I'm not going to stop being it and I'm not going to stop doing it. And I'm so freaking good at it that nobody else could do this. And I've had people tell me that they're like, I can't. I don't know how you do it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't either. The fact is when you want to get good at something and you know that you're an actual expert at it, everything else just falls into place. And I know I'm the best lead generator in cold calling. I know that I can generate leads and I know that I can close deals and make six figures off a deal and move on to the next in 30 days. So I just decided like, no, this is who I am. I'm going to own it. And by owning it, that meant I had to go back nose to the grindstone. So once I did that, everything else changed for me. It was just
I
like, no,
love that.
I do believe that I am one of the best on the phones, and people could call me cocky all they want, but hey, the results don't lie. And 400 deals later, I don't need to put just listed, just sold, or just flipped just did this on social media to know that I'm good at what I do. I just consistently do it, and the only thing that I share is who I actually am as a person on social media, which is all the fun things that I get to do. And outside of that, I wouldn't get to do those fun things, boat, trucks, Lamborghini, any of it without my mindset, which is I'm the best at this, so I'm going to do it. I used to cold call 7, 8 hours a day, and now if I cold call for actually, we were on a cold call not too long ago. It was one cold call close that I did with Greg
Mm-hmm.
online. Bought a house for 1 million, sold it to the neighbor for 1.3. From cold call to close, it was 42 days. That's unbelievable. And I
And
do
you
those
pulled in
deals all
what?
the time.
You
Do
pulled
you
in like
remember
what,
that?
200 G's on that or something
Yeah, it
ridiculous
was
in
like
42 days?
yeah, it was like 260
We're,
something.
we're
But
ballparking here. Yeah.
yeah. But, it's like, man, I could get on the phones for an hour and then not work for 6 months. And that's the life I want to live. So I
But
know
that's
that about myself.
but that's a mindset you shifted to, right? And you said, you
Hmm.
know what? I have and if you don't know Ashley Chapman, I strongly encourage you go follow her on Instagram and Facebook. She is one of my dearest best friends. She has supported me, not financially in any way, shape, or form, but just as a friend supported me through a lot of
Yeah.
difficult, times in my life. I've been there for her in her difficult times. You got to have that friend. You got to have that person, that homie, that homette that's going to be in your corner when shit hits the fan. This is my homegirl right here when it comes to that stuff. And once you have that trust, then you can get on calls. You can do social media, you can do videos, you can bounce things back and forth with each other, and you become a force to be reckoned with. Look, Ash and I are not that different of a human being than you guys are. I've done over 1 million cold calls. She's getting close to that 1 million cold call mark. And you get in that rhythm. It's like learning how to do jump rope, or it's how to learn how to walk or swim or anything else. It's a repetitive action, ride a bike. Once you get that in that skill set, you're unstoppable. The only thing stopping you is yourself. And so, Ash, I have one last question for you. Are you ready for this one?
Yes.
This is the most important question of the entire interview. And it's this: if you could give the audience one sentence that changed your life, what would it be?
Yeah, the one sentence that changed my life that I repeat to a lot of people all the time that some of my first mentors ever told me was there's money all around you just floating around in the air. You just have to grab it. And
That was
that
my
is,
line. Thank you very much.
oh, well, Hans Strazina, one of my mentors and my first broker ever, they used to say that all the time, and I'm like, that's so true. That's crazy. And
So
Greg, yeah,
true.
you have said that too. But that was like one of the first things that I heard in this business, and it's like I was like struggling, cold calling, not knowing. I'm like, this script sucks. I don't know, like 6 months of absolutely nothing. And I'm like, I suck at this. This doesn't work. And it was just a me thing where it's like, no, 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 I got to change my mindset. And that was the catalyst. That line is so important. And I tell people that all the time.
So say it one more time so people can hear it directly from your mouth without me interrupting you.
There's money everywhere. All you have to do is just pick it up.
And guys, think about that. How simplistic of a mindset that is, but how powerful it is. Because if you look around, like hers is pick it up. I had a buddy of mine who I hadn't seen in a while. My parents kind of fostered the guy for a little bit, but he would always come over for Sunday night dinners, and I saw him at a bar. I bought him a Bud Light, and we sat there and chatted. And he's like, "Greg, I got to tell you something." I'm like, "Okay, what's that?" He said, "Greg, Ashley, this is directly to your point." He said, "You understand? There's money floating over your head at all times. All you have to do is learn how to reach up, grab some, and bring it down to you." And that's the thought and mindset, the pattern that you guys need to understand and kind of embrace and envelop into your own essence of a being. Because once you see that there's a never ending opportunity to make money, you just got to look for it. Just
Yep.
find the avenue. Go for it. When I was deer hunting with my grandfather back when I was young, I could not figure out the whole deer hunting thing. I really couldn't. And I was like, wow, I said, Grandpa, how do you see the deer in the trees? And keep in mind, I was like 7 or 8 years old and maybe 9, right? I was munchkin. And he said, Greg, look for what isn't there. And I'm like, what isn't there? Oh, and he's like, yeah, look for legs, look for antlers, look for a body on the ground, like laying down in the shade. Look for what shouldn't be there. And now you invert that, and then you look for what is not being used in your current marketplace, how you can take advantage of things, and then execute at a high level like an assassin. So, Ash, let's do a couple of final takeaways. Give me
Mhm.
your ultimate takeaway for that young lady, that young man out there who are dying to get out and do wholesale deals, do real estate deals, be an entrepreneur, do anything for themselves, not being beholden by the man, the man. And how would you advise a 20-year-old young, you're a young lady, so another young lady,
Mhm.
how would you advise them to get out there and kick booty?
You do not have to know the answer to anything. You just have to start doing something. And as long as you keep doing something that pushes towards that goal, you will learn along the way and make it happen. But you cannot stop doing and learning. But a lot of business is going to be just doing without knowing anything. No
So
answer to any question. It's all hypothetical because you just don't know. I mean, I still learn things every day. So if you think that you're going to go into something and get all your questions answered up front before you start, then just don't do it. But just as long as you start and you don't know crap about anything, real estate, business, whatever, that's all that matters. You just have to start.
you start today. Don't start tomorrow. Don't look in the past, guys. The rearview mirror is much smaller than the front windshield. Go out there, take names, kick booty, try something, throw it out of the wall. You might not, you're not going to succeed at everything, by the way. You're definitely going to fail. Let's put that out there real honestly. But here's the cool thing. What you fail at is what you're not supposed to be doing. What you succeed at is where your heart and soul and desire and your essence should be spending their time. So, Ashley,
Hmm.
before we roll out of here, I want everybody to know where they can like, follow, subscribe, harass you and get advice from you, maybe become a coaching client. Where can they get a hold of you?
Instagram or TikTok at the Ashleygram on Instagram, and then the Ash Talk on TikTok.
Guys, trust me, you are not going to be disappointed when you get to hang out with Ashley on her different platforms. She's an absolute hoot. She's down to earth. She's real. She's genuine. She's one of my dearest best friends. You guys got to get in touch with her if you want to, grow in these different parts of the industry. All right, guys, we love you. This is Everybody Has a Story. We love you to pieces. We're going to be coming back. We have some more incredible interviews. So make sure you like, subscribe, smash that follow like button. Give us a little bit of love and comments. We always want to
Yeah.
know if there's going to be someone that I should be interviewing on this show that has a great story that everybody needs to hear. I don't care if it's yours or a friend or a colleagues or a family member. I want to hear from everybody. I don't care what walk of life. We are here to bring stories from people so we all can live a great life together. Ash,
Yes.
knocked it out of the park. You're amazing. All my audience, you're incredible. Until next time, boom. Peace. Love ya.
Peace.
Bye.